Welcome back to another episode of Champs Drink Champs. We're recording together, and today our episode is all about who the fuck are you? I wasn't gonna start with a swear word, but
Here we are. We're a little bit nervous. It's been a while since we've recorded together.
No, our episode is all about self-identity, and which basically means who the fuck are you? And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I went to Vienna. I won't stop talking about it, but it gave me a lot of perspective. And I feel like the perspective I got was, what am I doing with my life? Who are the people I'm surrounding myself with? What do I want out of life? Where do I want to be? Blah, blah, blah. And it made me think how often I mentioned it on the podcast I recorded about Vienna. Is like how often we're living our life to please other people or to be like other people or to like, I don't know, you just live your life not being who you want to be. And that's why I want to talk about this today.
I think it's a great topic. I'm very excited to talk about it. And yeah, it will be great. It feels very good to be together again.
It does. I've seen you twice this week now. It's
Yeah.
nice. Also, do I look at you or the
I don't,
screen?
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
try and look at both.
Also, my forehead is shiny because of Botox, not because it's oily.
I asked her to wipe it down before, so it's definitely Botox. Okay, so diving right in to self-identity and who the fuck are you? I'm gonna start with, what is self-identity? Self-identity is recognition of one's potential, qualities, and preferences as an individual, keyword individual, especially in relation to social context. And I think that is why this is so important, is because like once you dive into like your social part of life or your social, I don't know, what's that called? Like
I would just say social, like relationships,
Yeah.
connection.
like I feel like that's when people lose their self-identity. That's when they forget who they are or even can't even understand who they are because they just start becoming other people. So
Mhm.
that's why I think social is like where it's at.
Mhm.
Do you want to go first?
Well, my list is strategies of how to know yourself.
Okay,
So yeah,
I'll go first.
I'll probably be at the end.
So my notes that I have for you guys is figuring out who you are. And I have 6 tips-ish around that, on top of a lot of things I'm sure I'll add to Taylor's. But the first one is define your values, beliefs, likes, dislikes. So what makes you happy? Like sit and really think about like,
I'm just grabbing a pen.
Where'd
Because
you
it was
go?
on my list too, so I gotta mark things off as I go.
Our list is the same. But like really, like if you think about what makes you happy, and I think that that's one thing that I got a lot of clarity around when I was gone in Vienna, because I was completely disconnected from everything in America, all of my family, all of my friends,
Even me, you guys.
everyone. And I really had to stop and think about like the things that were happening at home and the things that I was experiencing there, and like what makes me happy, and was I living a life that made me happy? Was I happy? Was going to someone's barbecue making me happy? I don't get invited to those, so that was a hypothetical, but you get what I'm saying. But like that's what really like made me think about that, is like you really have to sit and think like what actually makes me happy. And I think when you surround yourself on social media or you're surrounding yourself with people or your environments, you don't really get the chance to think about what is making me happy. You just kind of are there. And I was noticing, like I came home and I told Taylor, I was like, I feel like I'm just doing things because we're supposed to and there's nothing else to do, and I don't want to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. And we do have a really good episode about finding your values and like how to find those things, and your values can change too. Like I go over my values and core beliefs at least once a year, if not more than that, because they do change.
I don't sit with my values very often, to be honest. I think I think deep down I know what they are, but I don't know what they are. I haven't defined them fully. Every now and then I'll be like, that's for sure a value, but I don't know what they are. If you ask me today, I'd be like, just do what you're supposed to do. Justice.
Justice. Every tarot card reading has a justice card for her.
Which also leads into my next thing with figuring out who you are. Allow yourself to grow, evolve, and change. Your identity isn't fixed. And I think that was something that was super important to me too while I was like reflecting on this, is like I can be whoever I want to be, and I can change whenever I want to change. So I think knowing that you can adapt where you want to adapt, but adapt because you want to adapt, not because you're hanging out with people and you're like, I want to be like them. You should never want to be like somebody. You should want to be yourself, and people fit in with you. So like this would be a good example. Like Taylor's extra spiritual, and she's not like out here trying to change who she is. Well, maybe sometimes she feels like she has to. I don't know. We haven't had that conversation.
Sometimes, yeah.
But
for sure.
like she's not out here in her friendship with me being like, okay, well, Shelby's not spiritual, so I'm just not going to be spiritual. Or she's not trying to change into who I am. Taylor is who she is because she wants to be spiritual and she aligns that way. And that allows me to be like, oh, I like this part and I want to try and like learn more about it, but I'm not going to conform into just being Taylor. I'm not going to suddenly just be like, I love yoga and I do yoga every day. I found
God, that would be a dream though.
I found a way to like channel her spirituality in a way that fits with me. And so like don't do it because you're around somebody and you want to be like them. Be who you want to be and take pieces of them. But still allow yourself to like grow, evolve, change. Just do it for you.
I think that that's a really good point. Like, and we'll use the yoga example because you hate yoga, but you do some things like the moon circles you enjoy. And I think just like taking bits and pieces from people that like you enjoy that part of them, or you want to learn more about them, or that part of them, or like that thing. I think that that's really important to like really pinpoint, because we've had a lot of people in our life that will try to be exactly like one of us or both of us. And it's like, no, is this even authentic to you? Like, if it's not authentic to you, don't do it. But like, if Shelby likes my spirituality, she'll do things with me like the moon circle that is tapping into that part of me and also tapping into a part of her that she enjoys. But like, if you lived in Logan, you wouldn't come to my yoga class the 6 days a week that I teach it.
Or try and teach it.
Yeah. Like, it's just like,
I'm like, hey, can I get a job? I want to be like Taylor.
Just like do the things that you enjoy and find those people that enjoy those things more and can teach you how to tap into that part of yourself, if that even makes sense.
Which is basically my number 3 of change your environment, not yourself. And I think that's basically what we just said. Like, on top of allowing yourself to grow, evolve, and change, knowing your identity isn't fixed, change your environment, but don't change who you are to your core. Like, identify who you are, how you want to live your life, and then change the people you're surrounding yourself with, the things you're going to, your social settings, whatever it is, your job, your home life, whatever you need to change your environment, but be true to who you are. And I think that's actually pretty hard. I think, to be honest, like there's times when I for sure have struggled with like, who am I? And like, that's a big question I'm asking myself right now. Like, what makes me happy? Like, I'm sitting here being like, I want to move to Vienna. I belong in Vienna, but then I'm also like, I fucking love the beach. I love warm weather. I want a golf cart community. I want a Vespa gang. I want to travel to all of these different places. And I've forgotten that I have traveled to a lot of places. I forgot that I wanted to live in New York. Like, I need to figure out what I want and then create that life. And I think find who you are, and don't just like go to an environment and be like, this is who I am.
I think that a big thing to mention though is growth never stops.
True.
Like, even when I think I'm done growing, I'll go to another therapy appointment, or I'll have like a big breakthrough and I'll be like, oh shit, like I didn't even realize this part of me. Like, if you listen to my spirituality episode, I guess it would be this last week, it was like a huge breakthrough I had with spirituality that I didn't even know I was struggling with. And like a few other things that I didn't even know I was struggling with subconsciously. So I feel like growth is always going. Like, you're always growing, you're always getting better, you're always building upon things. And if
you want to be growing.
Exactly. If you think that you're done growing though, I feel like it's a lifelong journey to always be leveling up or always growing.
Changing, constantly changing. The next one I have is overcoming limiting beliefs and thinking patterns. And that was a huge thing that hit me too, is just like, my thinking pattern had been stagnant. My thinking pattern and my environment had been, this is just life. This is just life in Utah. This is just life as a mom. This is just life, whatever. And I had to like really sit and be like, holy shit, you've gotten comfortable. And I think it comes back to like, don't get comfortable, like change the thoughts in your head of like, I couldn't do this. Like Wally and I talk about it all the time of like, why do we feel like we can't just go do whatever we want? It's because you're in an environment where people don't want you to go do what you want, because then you're going to leave them and then they're upset, or you're not going to be as available to them. And I think if you change those limiting beliefs and your thinking patterns, you'll for sure start to be like, oh, that's not even who I am. That's not what I want. The next one is challenge your self-image. This one, I actually don't understand a lot. Like, if I really think about it, like, I don't even know what my self-image is. Like,
I think it's just how you present yourself to other people. Like if you present yourself, I think it goes, which I hate to say, but it goes along with looks, like taking care of yourself. Like you can tell when you're looking at somebody if they don't take care of themselves. It doesn't even matter.
if they value their self.
Yes, it doesn't, like weight doesn't matter. You can tell if somebody doesn't take care of themselves. Like I have this patient that is absolutely beautiful, and she is a plus size woman and she is beautiful. And I don't think that weight defines who you are as a person, but she takes care of herself. She always comes into the office and she is dressed up and she has makeup on and her hair is done and she's funny and she's fun to be around. I think that that would be a self-image of that. You take care of yourself.
So self-image is the personal view or mental picture that we have of ourselves. The idea one has of it, their abilities, appearance, and personality. So it makes sense. I can see now why I don't understand challenge your self-image, because I feel like I'm a baby narcissist and I think I have a really good self-image of myself. And I was like, I don't actually know what this means. But I do also like, I have a hard time where I'm like, I don't feel happy with where I'm at, like with my weight or my skin or my wrinkles or my gray hair. So like that I think plays into your self-image, but it doesn't, I for sure know that it's not something that brings me down, but I think it's something that a lot of people probably need to challenge more to identify who they are. Like for some reason, I have this wealth of confidence. It could be a facade. I don't really know. I listened to Back to the Beach recently, and Kristen was talking about how like she was like, everyone thinks I have confidence, but like I'm broken inside. And I was like, damn, fucking same, Kristen. Like, but I'm not, like I'm not broken to the level where I don't have confidence, but I for sure still struggle. But I think people see other people's confidence of like, that's their self-image, and it could, I don't know, if you ask me, I'd be like, I'm the least confident, but I'm actually pretty confident.
No, I feel the same. I just do things about image that make me feel good. I love Brazilian waxes. I will never stop. I will never stop getting my nails done. I will never stop getting my hair done. I told Tony those are my 3 non-negotiables. I don't care if nobody's looking at my vagina.
What about Botox? Is that a non-negotiable?
It is now. Yes. As I get older, yes. But like, if there's just things that make me feel good, like getting my hair done makes me feel so good. I don't care what other people think about it. Tony's the only one who's seeing my vagina, and I want that thing waxed all the time because it feels good. So I think that would just be like,
I mean, also like you see it, and like I know for sure because I don't get waxed, but I am about to get laser hair removal and I can't fucking wait for that. But I for sure know, like when I haven't shaved for a day or two, I like look down and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I think but then there's like pubic hair, it doesn't bother some people. So I think just doing whatever you feel comfortable and what makes you happy is what you should do.
Total side note, which is like the same but not. I learned in Vienna, women having facial hair is like acceptable. So like I'm very insecure about like my facial hair and my like whiskers, or if I even have peach fuzz, like I'm trying to shave that shit all the time, pluck it, whatever. I want it all gone.
Mhm.
Even if you can't really see it, but I can see it. And it's not a thing there. Like,
That's
I asked, because
interesting.
I was talking to one of the kids from Hungary. I think I mentioned him on the podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
That I think his name's like Simone. I don't know how you say it. Simone. I don't know. Simone. I don't know. Anyways, he was like this. He's super young, and somehow we got on the topic about facial hair, and he was saying, because I was like, so wait, it's normal if like a girl has facial hair? Like in America, we're like everything has to be cleaned. And he was like, no, we don't even see it. He was like, I wouldn't even notice it if they had it. And he's like, it's completely normal to have.
Really?
And that blew my fucking mind.
That's very interesting.
And I was like, so armpit hair, that explains like all of the hair.
Mhm.
Like, but here it's like, if you have things, it's weird. But back to what Taylor was saying, do what makes you feel comfortable
Mhm.
and makes you happy. Whatever
I
that
do
looks
not feel comfortable being hairy. I don't even care what it looks like. I don't like I shave my legs every day. I don't know. I know a lot of women don't. Like in the winter, they're like, oh, I don't have to shave my legs anymore. I'm wearing pants. I hate the feeling of like prickles in pants. I hate it so much. So just do what makes you feel good. Even if it feels like out of the norm, I still am not gonna have facial hair. I can't do that. That would be very stressful to me.
No, I agree. I could go on a whole tangent right now, but back to the self-image thing. I do think that like do what makes you feel comfortable. Like don't try and make your image somebody else's. Like
Mhm.
I get dressed and I get ready for me. Like there's like a thing on the internet that like a lot of people have been sharing. I think we shared something similar to it where it was like get dressed for you, do the workout for you, do
Mhm.
this. And like there's been times where like I'll be like asking Wally about like an outfit. I'm like, what about this? Like, what do you think this looks like? And he's like, why does it matter? And I'm like, he's like, who are you dressing for? I'm like, I'm dressing for my fucking self. Like it makes me feel good. Like
Mhm.
when I work from home, I get dressed professionally because it makes me remember who the fuck I am. Like that's my self-image. That's what makes me feel comfortable. But if you feel comfortable wearing whatever, do it. But do it because it makes you comfortable. Don't do it because there's this person that you like see doing something and you wish you could be like them. Do whatever that looks like for you. The last one I have an open mind with yourself and others. And I think openness is a huge part of growth. I think it's something that like not everyone has, but I think once you get into a mind frame of openness, everything starts to change. Like you can't even grow if you don't have openness. Like
Mhm.
if you can't even hear somebody's perspective or see them for who they are and not have openness, I don't know.
I think that's big to say,
Fixed
like,
mindset.
yeah, like with the world, especially right now, everybody has a different political view. And I'm not going to bring politics into this podcast at all, but I
We're not qualified.
No, we are not. But I've just gotten to the point that I'm like, if that is fully what you believe, great. I'm not going to even try to change your opinion. Like, just let it be. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, you don't have to try and change people's opinions. You don't have to try to change people's feelings. Like, just, I think it is such a beautiful and powerful thing to have an open conversation with people and fully believe in what you're saying. Like, if I wanted to talk politics right now, again, not qualified at all, but there are people who are qualified to talk about that.
Told her.
Yeah, TikTok gives me all my information. Okay. But there are people that are qualified to talk about that, and they're so passionate and great at talking about it. And that is something that you should just be like, I love that you feel that passionate about it. Like, that's great. Be
Well,
open and be honest with people.
I think that's one thing I noticed too with like me when I was like, I've been talking a lot of shit about America right now. I've been talking a lot of shit about how like I want to move. And I've been like, people have been in my DMs like really coming at me. And I've just been like, the fact that you can't even have an open mind around the fact that I think differently than you, or that I want something different from you, or that I'm trying to tell you like there is more to life and you can't see it. Like, I can appreciate that you're feeling that way, but also don't criticize me for being
Feeling my way,
open-minded,
yeah.
for wanting to explore the world, for realizing that there's this whole giant worldwide web that you can explore and you can go do it if you really wanted to. And like, maybe it's not like rainbows and butterflies here for me.
Mhm.
Maybe that's my mind. And they're literally like, I don't know, I just don't get it. Like they'll be like, so how do you feel now that you're back in America? Have you changed your mind? And it's like, why are you even fucking asking me that? It's weird. But that tells me they're not very open, or they're curious. They want my opinion, but when you get hit with criticism, when you're being open, change your environment.
I agree.
Don't engage in that
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah. I think debates are great. Honestly, I do. I think people like talking.
Healthy.
Yes, I
Healthy
think
debates.
healthy debates are great. I think that people talking about what they're passionate about and their feelings is something that is not utilized enough. And I feel like people get so criticized for doing it. And why? Like, what's the point of criticizing somebody for their beliefs? I think that that's silly. So I think just being open and honest with people is a big thing, and owning it. Like owning whatever it is you feel and whatever it is you believe is a big thing.
Also, don't engage in a conversation like that and then have them explain themselves to you and then ghost them. That's happened to me, and it's so frustrating. It's like, why'd you ask me this question for my perspective
If you didn't even
and
answer.
then you didn't even respond? Like, fuck you.
I agree with that.
Anyways, those not watching did not know that I was petty, just barely. Anyways, moving on. So I always like to identify a why behind things, or why things are happening, whatever. And so I wanted to give you a why for figuring out who the fuck you are. The why is having an identity, and people who get that gives you a sense of belonging, which is important to your well-being and confidence. So basically, back to what I was already saying, like, you having your own identity is what's going to give you that confidence. But also, like, stop viewing other people and their lives and like what they have and letting that negatively affect you. Like, find who you are, find your self identity, and go be around those types of people. Go have the best life you can with the people that make sense for you. Like, this is a you thing. And I don't know, it's just wild to me that people aren't finding that.
Yeah, it is wild. When I got my yoga teaching certification, it was like a big, and we were going through COVID, like there was a lot, oh my God.
Sorry.
There was a lot of things happening in the world when I went through my yoga teaching certification. So that could have played a lot into it, but that was really like the biggest defining moment for me, that I'm like, who am I? What are the things I'm wanting? Where do I even feel spiritually? Like, what is this whole situation of myself? And so, not saying that like you have to go through something as drastic as a yoga teacher training, because that is super intense and super like, you go into yourself a lot, but like just spending the time and figuring out what life looks like for just you, and what people you want to surround yourself with, what boundaries you need to hold, maybe with family or whatever it is. But that was just like a really big defining moment for me, and it really helped me like figure out a lot of things about myself.
It's actually really interesting to me that you just brought this up, because as you were speaking, I don't recall you being a yogi before you did that. And I never once doubted or questioned, like, you were like, I'm gonna do this certification, and I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you did say that. I think you were like, that's really cool.
I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, but you weren't a yogi before that. And so I think if you are doing something that you want to do for yourself and people are questioning that and they're like, wait, why would you do that? You're probably around the wrong people, I would dare say. Like, I don't actually know, because I guess I've been around people that question me all the time, but I don't give a fuck about them. But like, if you're doing something that you're like, I want to do this, and someone's like, but why? And it's like, I mean, if it was drugs, then you should be concerned when they're asking why.
Don't do drugs, kids.
But what I'm meaning, just like in general, like regular things about who you are and what you identify with. Like, if you can't do that and people are like, that's awesome, good luck, or like, wow, I can't wait to like see how this goes. That's a huge thing for you. Like, I just now realized, like, I don't even think it was weird to me that you did that, but probably in my mind, I'm probably like, I should have been like, where did this come from? Because I don't remember you being a yogi.
No, it's so funny because like everybody close to me didn't question it. You, my sisters, my mom, Tony, they were just like, go for it. Like, good for you. And that is interesting because it was never an interest for me
Like,
before.
I think you went to yoga classes.
Yeah, I
Here and
did.
there, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That was really weird for me to just hear you talk about that. I was like, wow, I didn't ask any questions. I was just like, great.
But I think that's important to know is
Yeah.
that I surround myself with the right people because nobody was like, why are you doing this? Let's dial this down. Are you sure you want to do this? This is a big time commitment, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just like everybody close to me was just like, do your thing. Like, that's great.
I will say, I do remember asking you at one point, but not immediately, like, are you doing this to cover your dad dying? And we talked about that. I think actually on a podcast episode.
Yeah.
But like, I do remember thinking like, I think she's trying to fill her time a little bit, but also like, it wasn't a weird time filler. It was just more of like, oh, she definitely wants to be busy right now. That's what I thought.
But what's interesting is I started my teacher training before my dad died. My dad died in September. I started in January.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you started something when your dad died in like October?
I started my 300 hour.
That's
Yeah,
the
my
one.
300
That's the one
hour.
where I was
Yeah.
like, she wants to be busy.
Yeah, that one I did want to be busy, but no, like my regular 200 hour, I just,
Wow.
you know, Heather, the owner of the yoga studio, definitely talked me into it, and I had every excuse under the book. And finally, one day she's like, Taylor, we'll figure out the finances. We'll figure it all out. Like, you have
Was
to
it
do this.
expensive?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
See, again, didn't ask any questions. I was literally, yes!
It's not cheap, but it was worth it. Paid off all my debt.
Well, those are my notes.
Okay, so my notes are strategies to get to know yourself. So number one is visualize your ideal life, which you all know me. I love visualization. I love meditation, and meditation is the greatest container that you can have to visualize your future self. It is. You'll find out at the moon circle tonight. It will be great.
I would say you can visualize if you're a mental processor. Because I probably am basically meditating myself sometimes.
You are,
but
yeah.
if you call it meditation,
You turn off.
call it inner child work, call it whatever I have an issue with words, I don't like it.
Yeah. The next one is, this is a big one, reflect on your relationships, which we've already kind of talked about, but I think just surrounding yourself with people in your life that will support you no matter what it is. And there are times that, like being an Enneagram 7, I do have to have people check me and be like, are you sure? Or maybe this is too much, whatever. But they're still supportive in that way. And I think that that's a big thing, is just reflect on the relationships of people that you have around you. The next thing is do things on your own, which I know I've talked about this before, but like doing things alone was very stressful and scary to me. And now I value my alone time so much. I love going to movies alone. I love going out to eat on my own. Like, I love being by myself sometimes. And that is very, very weird for me to say, but you can't do this deep inner work with other people. You have to do it by yourself.
Do you do stuff alone very much anymore?
All the time. All the time. I just went out to dinner by myself the other day.
What?
I love it. I love meals by myself.
You don't talk about it very much.
I should talk about it more. No, I do stuff by myself at least
It's
once
probably
a week.
because I'd be like, what the fuck? I would never do that. Again, criticism.
Know your relationships. No,
Don't-
I do things by myself at least once a week. I love it. I love it.
I will say that my cards, when I have been reading them, keep telling me to go be by myself. And I feel like I spend some time by myself, but it's not the right time by myself.
Yeah, for sure. Focus on your passions. So whatever your passions are, even if it seems out of the norm, again, the yoga teacher thing was totally out of the norm, but I ignited this passion in me that I didn't know I had. So really try a bunch of different things and figure out what you're passionate about. You don't know if you're going to be passionate about something if you don't try it at least once. And there's so many like pop-up things and like so many things that you can do to help figure out your passion if you have no idea. But I guarantee if you just like sit and try and figure it out, you'll figure it out.
I think people don't find their passion. On top of all of what we're talking about, start with finding what you're passionate about too.
Mhm.
Like, again, probably write it down because I know I have passions, but I don't like write them down. It's like my core values. Add that to the list of what are your core values, beliefs, whatever I said.
Mhm.
What's your passion?
Mhm. The next one is know when to unplug. And this is actually something that is very recent for me. Usually on like throughout the week, I love to watch TV. I'm a big TV watcher and I will literally watch TV at any point in time. I don't care what I'm watching, like I just love to watch TV. So last night I took some cannabis oil and I got this like really creative spark and like I rewrote my whole moon circle event. Like I was just feeling really creative. And it was like getting later, and I was like, oh, I should go. Like, I'm rewatching all the Jersey Shore seasons right now. I'm absolutely loving it. But I was like, I should go watch Jersey Shore. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm reading this really good book and I really want to read it. And I sat and read for 2 hours last night and it was heaven. So knowing when to put your phone away, knowing if you're a TV person like me, knowing when to turn the TV off and doing something else that you really enjoy that doesn't involve electronics is extremely beneficial. And I slept the best I've slept in a very long time last night. And I truly believe it was because I wasn't binge watching TV before I went to bed.
1000%. I will add to that too. I think Rachel Hollis said something about it in like one of her recent episodes. She talked about like setting like a time to do something for 5 minutes that you're trying to accomplish. And like you'll never just do 5 minutes. So you never just read for 5 minutes. And you'll never just practice this one thing for 5 minutes. But that really stuck out to me too. Like if you have something that you're wanting to do like set a habit or make a habit, make reminders to do something like that and make it something small that you're like, oh, I can do this for 5 minutes, because you'll never do just that. But then on top of that, I have this habit tracker app on my phone, and I don't follow it religiously, but I have it set to like have all these reminders throughout the day. And like again, I'm not using the app like as it's intended, but it will give me these reminders on my phone. And throughout the day, it'll be like, fill your spending, use cash for a better future, or save now for a better future. Like all throughout the day, it's like having these little things. And then at night, it's constantly like, keep your phone out of reach, put your phone down and do something else. Like be present with the people you're with. And like, I'll always get it either on my phone or my watch, and I'll be like, cool. And it gives me that like 10 seconds of like, make this choice. Are you going to stay on your phone or are you done? And like, I'll be working and it'll be like, look further away to protect your eyes. And it gives me like those reminders. So find something similar to that. Find something where you can like either make alarms on your phone or whatever you need to do to like give you those promptings. Because if you do not do that, you will literally not do any of this. But think about the 5 minute thing and think about making timers or something that's going to send you notifications on your phone. Apple has like this thing where you can like turn your phone off in like sleep mode, like wind down mode, where it basically like you have to like, if you went to pick it up right now, it wouldn't just like, if you're watching us on YouTube, it wouldn't just show the screen. It'll still be black, and you have to like intentionally like open it, put your password in. You can't use your Face ID, and that gives you that second layer of like,
do I really want to be getting on?
Because you'll naturally just pick up your phone and just start being on it. But if you look at it and it's not like opening, you're kind of like, oh yeah, and you put it down. So like find something like that to help you disconnect, because it's super important.
And it is, and I'm a big lover of social media too, and it's addicting. Like it is addicting. All of a sudden you'll be on TikTok and 2 hours have gone by and you're like, where the hell did these 2 hours go? Like it is important to be intentional about it. And it's interesting, like our generation is interesting because we grew up half of our life without internet and social media, and then the other half of our life is like everything is based off of technology. But and I think that almost makes our addictions worse, in my opinion, is because we're like, oh, this is so cool. Like the world is at our fingertips. We didn't grow up this way. So it's very easy for me to stay on social media for a very long time. And I really have to work on like, and intentionally make myself only be on for a limited time, because I will get sucked down rabbit holes.
I would say too, like, this is kind of getting off topic a little bit, but like I literally said to Wally a couple nights ago, I was like, have you noticed how much we don't play with Henley? Like we are around her and we're watching something with her, or she's on her phone, or she's like doing something around us, but we're very like absent when it comes to actually doing an activity with her. And I was like, we have to be better. Like, and it's because we're all like winding down and we all want to break and we're all disconnecting. We're disconnecting in ways that are not beneficial for
Yeah.
our kids or ourselves. And like go like I think the weather changing will help because it
Yeah,
gets better.
for
But like in
sure.
the winter specifically, like we all just come home and we're just chilling on TV or on our phones, or I'm doing homework. And I was just like, we have to be more intentional about like disconnect from like the world,
Technology. Yeah.
technology and the world. 'Cause
Mhm.
the world's fucking crazy right now.
Yeah.
America specifically.
The next one is keep learning. I'm a big fan of learning. We actually just had this conversation this afternoon. I love to always be learning, whether it's from TikTok or reading books or whatever. You can learn a lot from TikTok.
Your
if
own
you follow the right
podcast.
people. Your own podcast, whatever it is. Keep learning. Like there should never be a limit on learning. And it doesn't have to be like you're learning math, science, social studies, like school type things. Just learning about the world, learning about different cultures. Yeah.
Explore the world.
Yeah. Just
Move
like
to Vienna.
just like learning about your surroundings and learning about things is very important. We kind of already touched on this, but try different things. I'm a big fan of just trying a bunch of different things. Like if you think you may like it, give it a shot. If you don't like it, don't ever do it again. Like it's no big thing. I really would like to try kickboxing one day. We have a new kickboxing gym that just opened in Cache Valley. I'll probably go to a few classes, see if I enjoy it.
It's the fucking tit.
It would be really fun, I think. But like there's in the world we live in today, there's so many things happening and so many things that you can find. There's no reason why you can't try a bunch of different things and find out what your passions are.
Also, do that with food.
Yeah.
Try all the food.
I'm not trying raw meat though. That's
Taylor
scary.
won't try shit anymore. It feels like
Olives.
she's like, I don't like this.
Olives are
like,
disgusting.
try
I
it
won't
in-
try them.
Try it in different forms. Like
Hell no. I've
you
already
never
tried
know.
all the olives and I hate them.
Listen, I'm just saying, try things in different forms. Try it no matter what. If it's different, try it. If it's a different activity, try it. Different foods, try it. Just because you don't like one version of something doesn't mean, like, I hate cilantro. Do you think it makes me stop eating salsa? Absolutely the fuck not.
Nope. You eat
But
a lot of
you
salsa.
eat it in different forms. So like, just know that like, just because you don't like I don't like yoga, but if Taylor's teaching a yoga class, I will do it because it's not traditional yoga. You know what I mean? So just like be open.
Mhm. The next one is know your Enneagram number. I really rely heavily on my Enneagram number. I feel like that has taught me a lot of things about myself and others. I love to know everyone around me, their Enneagram number, because I feel like it helps my communication with them so much. So really, if you don't know your Enneagram number, I highly, highly recommend figuring that out.
And like Enneagram number is not like this super intense personality test that you
Mhm.
take. It's not like the DISC test. Like, I don't know if you know what that is, but
Mhm.
like I've had to take that professionally and it's fucking stupid. But like it's free to take. We have a link literally in our profile on Instagram, and it goes back years. Like there's books where this has been like happening. I can't remember what the book is about it, but like this has been happening for like hundreds of years. It's not some random personality test that someone came up with that you have to pay $50 to take. And it is so factual, it's
Mhm.
insane. And the more you know about yourself with your Enneagram number, the more you can stop criticizing yourself, the more you can understand yourself, the more you can have your self identity. But on top of that, it's so much easier for you to have openness with the people around you because you're like, oh, this isn't them being X, Y, and Z. This is them because this is their personality type.
Mhm.
And it just makes sense.
I feel like, and it helps so much with your relationships with other people too. Like, I feel like digging deep into our Enneagrams has helped you and I so much
Mhm.
because there's certain things that you do that I don't understand. And then there's a lot of things that I do that you're like, what the fuck?
I'm like, oh, it's because you're a 7.
Yes. But knowing that has helped our relationship so much. It's helped Tony and I's relationship so much. Like, it just helps so much to know how people are at their core without them even realizing. Like I didn't even realize half of my traits until like either Shelby would point them out or an Instagram page would point them out and be like, Enneagram 7s do this. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. I do that. Like I didn't even know. So I think it's very beneficial for not only yourself, but just for people around you as well.
I would say too, it's helped me not be as frustrated as a spouse with
Mhm.
Wally, because I know his Enneagram type. I know how they behave. I always check when I see like the things on Instagram what mine is and what his is and what Taylor's are. Maybe this is an unhealthy relationship, Taylor, and I have at this point, but whatever. But it's helped me not be so frustrated or resentful or whatever. Like it's just helped me have more understanding of like, it's not anything about our relationship or how he values our relationship. It's literally just him.
Who they are as
Yeah.
a person.
It's
Yeah.
really helped with that. And it helps me professionally too. Like with the people I work with, I make everyone on my team take it so I can understand who they are and they can take it for what they want it to be. But it helps me be like, all right, they're an Enneagram this. This is how I can talk to them. And this, especially your boss, you should always know their Enneagram.
100%. Agree with that. So the next one is silence negative self-talk. You cannot really get to know yourself if you're being negative towards yourself. Again, queen of the negative self-talk. I have been getting a lot better. I still have a long way to go, but I have definitely been getting better, and it does make a big difference to talk to yourself nicely.
I think it plays into that self-image thing that like I mentioned. I think if you're having negative self-talk, you don't even know what your self-image is. And it won't be positive.
And then the last thing I have is let go of things that don't serve you. This can be very hard because a lot of the times it is relationships that don't serve you. I know Shelby and I mentioned it a lot, like the last couple of years, we've gotten rid of a lot of friendships that don't serve us. And that is extremely hard for me to let go of people in my life. Like probably one of the hardest things, but there just gets to a point that you have to release things that don't serve you. And I think that is very hard, but I also think it's very necessary.
Yeah, I think that's another big perspective I came back with from Vienna, where I was like, this is not making me happy. This is not serving me. This is not like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for other people or what other people think you're supposed to do. And I literally said to Taylor, I don't want to do that shit anymore. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. So I even questioned hosting a Cinco de Mayo barbecue. So that tells you the perspective you get when you leave the fucking country.
And that made me sad because I only get her corn salad once a year. And that's at the Cinco de Mayo barbecue.
Cornhole.
And that's the only thing I was sad about, that I didn't get the corn salad.
Oh, you didn't want to hang out?
Just ship the corn salad to my house, okay? Just kidding.
I can make it. It's just like,
you should make it for my wedding.
It's only for tacos. Like, you need tacos.
No,
with
you
it.
just need Doritos.
Tacos. If you're gonna have tacos, I'll make it. If you're not having tacos, it's not happening.
Well, I think that's it. So we have a Champs Drink Champs.
Also, we need to get real crystal glasses because in Vienna they sound different. Beautiful.
All right. Hashtag Dear Champs Drink Champs. I'm so bothered by a friend, like a best friend. I don't think she realizes that she is selfish.
It's
a big one.
I have a hard time with this one because I hate selfish people. And people may or may not consider me selfish because I'm a Leo. I'm an Enneagram 1 and I do what the fuck I want. And I also just take what I want and do what I want. So I'm baby narcissist here. So I would say, okay, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Taylor's my best friend. Don't get offended. This is a hypothetical. You're an Enneagram 7, you might think this is real. But if Taylor was doing something where she was like taking advantage of me or being selfish or not giving back in our relationship, I would probably just say something to her. And I know that most people can't just say something. Like, let's say people could say that I'm selfish because she's always driving to the valley to hang out. Like, do you even care about your friendship? She's always coming to you. I have literally said to her, I feel really bad because I don't ever come up to Logan. Like, I feel really upset. Like, I want to make sure that this is going both ways. And she always is like, no, it's okay. And in that moment, I would want her, if she felt like I was selfish, to be like, it does actually suck. I wish you would come more. That's how you can like have a dialogue around that. Or if I felt like she was being selfish in something and like not valuing my time or taking advantage of me, I would probably just say, hey, this isn't working. Like, this actually upsets me, or I would like it if we could. I actually just said this before we recorded. I told her she needed to make notes before we recorded, because sometimes when she wants to wing it, she just listens to the podcast while we're recording rather than hosting it with me. And then I
She
get
did
really
say this.
insecure that I just spoke the whole time. And she's like, wow, that gave me a lot of perspective. I need to think about this. And I'm like, you're educating yourself in our podcast, and I need you to take some notes before
And
we
then I was
record.
like, can I have a notebook?
So like, I think if you just say it, it can improve, but nothing will happen if it doesn't like if you don't discuss it, nothing will
Mhm.
happen. But it is uncomfortable if it's your best friend. Like, I could have said it forever ago. It didn't really bother me until I also had it prepared, and she's like, we're just gonna wing it. And I was like, bitch, we cannot wing this. We've been drinking champagne. We haven't recorded together. We don't even really know what we're talking about yet. Like, so I think as long as you have a conversation around it, that's great. If you can't have a conversation around it and you start ghosting them, you're not actually friends.
Mhm.
Like, and if it
Yeah.
really bothers you, then you have to say something. If you're not willing to stand up for yourself, what does that say about you?
Mhm.
What does that say about your friendship? Like, evaluate that, self-reflect a little bit more, have some fucking balls or ovaries, whatever you want to call them, and just have the conversation. But if you can't do it, you're not standing up for yourself, and you're a little bitch.
That was actually going to be my exact same advice, is that you just
Word
have
for word.
Okay, word for word, even the shit about me. You just have to have that conversation with somebody. And I know Shelby and I have a very unique relationship. We've actually talked about this before, that our relationship is very unique, and a lot of people wouldn't thrive in that relationship like I feel like we do. But you have to just get to however works for you to communicate to that person of like, I feel like you're being really selfish. These are my reasons why. I have to have reasons why. I can't have, like, if Shelby was to come up to me and be like, I feel like you're being selfish, I'd be like, okay, well, what am I
Why?
doing? Like, I need to know what I'm doing in order to change it. I can't change things if I don't have reasons. So if it is a kind of relationship that you guys don't talk about things deeply, have your list of reasons, like, this is why I feel like you're selfish. This is why I feel this way. And if you're on the other side of this, being open and communicative to the person that is communicating that to you, because you can't just have somebody tell you their deepest thoughts and then like not communicate that back.
Yeah, I would say if someone talks to you about it, for sure be open and ask the question like why. And if you value the relationship, you will want to take that time. And what I would add to this too is like, stop and think about who they are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Are you putting expectations on them because that's your preference? Are you putting expectations on them because it's more convenient for you and what you're giving to the relationship? Like, think about all of those different dynamics. Like, again, don't be offended by this, but like when we vacation with like Taylor and Tony, they don't have children. They have a very different life than we have, and they have very different responsibilities. And there's times where like I will be like, wait, I don't want to do this yet until Taylor gets here. And I'll be like, why can't we just do it now? And I'm like, well, because I want my best friend here, because maybe again, unhealthy relationship. But on top of that, like, you have to think about like their priority isn't I have kids, you don't want them sitting here doing nothing, so you like efficiently go about life, and they're just going to kind of like Taylor and Tony will slowly get to whatever we're about to do, and that's okay. And I have to
Emphasis on the slow.
like, because they don't like, they can do whatever the fuck they want. They're adults and they can sleep in. They can take longer to get ready. They're not like trying to rush out the door because kids are being obnoxious in the room or unwilling to understand that like life can be slow. And I have to constantly always be like, they are in a different situation than us, and that's acceptable. And I want to wait because I want them here, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that they don't value our time. It doesn't mean that they have to adapt who they are to be in our lane. Like, and they adapt very well to when we are around all of these children. But it's okay for them to be that way. And it's like, that's not a selfish thing. But I have to constantly like help Wally remember, like, they have different lives than us, and that's totally okay. And it doesn't mean that we can be upset or need to be upset. It's just like, we can fill our time until they get here. And I think that those are like good examples of like understanding who people are, what their life is, how their personalities are. Are you putting an expectation on them because you just want to like hustle and bustle through life, or you think that someone should be doing something for you? Like, just relax. Like, if you relax and think about other people more than yourself, more often than not, they're probably not selfish.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But also, if your best friend's doing that and it's actually a problem, fucking talk to her, or she's not your best friend.
I agree.
And if you need me to talk to her, I will.
She'll be like, let me out him. All right, you guys. So I think that's our episode. So thank you so much for listening. I feel stressed that we don't have a microphone. I don't know where to talk. But anyway, thanks for listening. Make sure you're following us on all the socials. Please give us a 5-star review, share with a friend, and we will talk to you next week. Can't wait to be recording again together.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of solo episodes, and
Yeah.
it's like I said in my episode, I don't know how to end a podcast, so I'm just gonna say, see ya.
Bye. Do, 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 do.